Hello and welcome back. It's puzzle time with Sudoku Sleuth, and today we're going to be playing Corner Braces. I know the title doesn't necessarily give you much, but the constructors would. We are playing a full deck and missing a few cards puzzle, and of course I will be looking forward to this. So as of the time of recording, it doesn't have that many souls, it's like 400 something, 95% rating, 2-star difficulty as we would play on a Sunday. I am conscious of the fact that most of my viewers are from the US and the UK, so tomorrow is technically a holiday for most of you, so I am very tempted to actually feature another 2-star difficulty rated puzzle tomorrow. Do let me know down in the comments, please, if that's something that you'd like to see. Anyway, anything else to mention before we take a look at today's puzzle? I think the clue is very much in the name, which you'll understand when I walk you through the rules and you get to see the grid of corner braces from full deck and missing a few cards. You can see why the thumbnail looked the way it did, with this kind of brace in here, another corner and another brace, etc. Clearly part of the solve. Standard Sudoku, Renban and cages. So, if you know what all of that means, you know what to do. Link in the description down below for you to play. On the off chance that you don't, let's start with standard Sudoku rules. Place the digits 1 to 9 once each, so no repeats, in every row, every column, every 3x3 box if I can select one. Then we have the Renbans. So digits along a Renban line, which are really the only lines on here, the purple ones, magenta if you prefer, must form a set of non-repeating consecutive digits in any order. So if this cell is a 2, for example, well, these remaining cells could be 1, 3, 4, 5 to form 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It could also be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that's a consecutive set of non-repeating digits. Although this cell is in a different row, different column, different box, they cannot repeat on the Renban. So the 2 in here has broken the puzzle. And obviously, I cannot skip a digit. I've got now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on a 5-cell Renban. I'm clearly going to be skipping one. If it's not the 6, I'm in trouble. And if it's not the 1, I'm in trouble again. So no skipping, they have to be consecutive. Then last but not least, we've got cages. Digits in cages cannot repeat and must sum to the value shown in the upper left corner of the cage. If this cell here was a 2, this cell would have to be a 3 to make sure that these two cells add up to 5. Another 5, 11, 16, you get the drift. As always, to play along, link in the description down below for you to do so. And with that said, I'm going to restart the clock and see how I get on. So a few of these cages are forced. The 7 cage down here in 3 cells can only be 1, 2, and 4. The 3-cell inside, the 2-cell cage adding up to 3 can only be 1 and 2. The 2-cell cage adding up 16 can only be 7 and 9. This 5 cage becomes a little bit interesting because it can only be made up of 1, 2, 3, and 4, except this is not 1 or 2, and therefore this is not 3 or 4. Kind of 4 and 1 or 3 and 2. And that is all I can see at the moment in terms of cages. I mean, there's clearly something happening in row 6 with all these 11s. There's clearly something happening in row 4, given we've already pencil marked a lot of it. But I think it is time to get onto the corner braces. Now, I'm sure it's not lost on any of you the fact that they are all 5-cell Renbans. And what's interesting about a 5-cell Renban is if you think about the number line for a second, if I can actually type it out, to get 5 consecutive cells, even if you start at the extreme ends of 1 and 9, the 5 is always included. Can't have something that doesn't include the 5, and obviously anything in between will always include the 5. So, what is this telling us now? It's telling me that there is always a 5 in the corner, meaning for these 5-cell Renbans, this cannot be a 5 because it would of course break this Renban. So we'd end up with a 5 either here or there. And then obviously there's a bit of interplay because they're in the same box, same row, where I would end up with some kind of pattern such as, well, it can't be here now, so it could be there, can't be there now, but I need a 5 in the box. Hang on, it can't be there, that's more important. So it would have to be here, and it can't be there, it would have to be there. So that could be one setup for the 5s. Now obviously I could have entirely reversed this with 5s here, 5s there, 5s there, 5s there. The interesting thing is when you look at box 5, and here's our first digit 2 minutes in, is none of these could be 5s. Here's our first digit. Sorry, I'm trying to appreciate what this 5 is doing. And it is doing something. You see, if you take a look at box 8. Yeah, right. Let's use box 8 because box 8 is brilliant for this. I have to have a 5 in one of these two cells. Because if there's a 5 on here, well, it can't be there. It would have to be here. So essentially, there is a 5 definitely in one of these two cells, eliminating 5s in row 8. And I'm having a look now. Not as useful in the other boxes for now. I was essentially just wondering if these 5s, and it almost does. We can see that it clearly is none of these cells, but nothing is, and has to be one of these 3. We've been given the 5 for a reason, and I'm struggling to see it. I don't exactly want to give up on it just yet, because it feels significant somehow. Let's think through the geometry of these lines for a second. So we know that the 5s are in essence, well, at least in this corner, doesn't include this cell. It absolutely couldn't be in this cell because that could be an 8. I don't see a problem with that. Can't be here. It's restricted once again to one of these two, which, okay, right, Sudoku. Of course, my favorite. I have to have a 5 on this Renban. These two, remove the 5 from here. No 5s, no 5s. Where's the 5 on this Renban in box 7? It can only be in here. That's another digit. That's a 6. No 5s. Definite 5. No 5s. One of these two cells is a 5. And, oh, this is brilliant. Right, box 4, where is my 5? Remember, I always had to have one on the Renban, but the fact that this is a 3, 4, and this is a 6, now there's a 5 in here, and that's not 5, that is another 5. Oh, this is phenomenal. Okay, 5s, not a 5. So it removed the two 5s options because, of course, Sudoku, it's almost like my enemy sometimes. And again, one of these on the Renban had to be, but these eliminate these 5s. So my intuition earlier that they were leading us somewhere was absolutely true. And then no 5s here, that's another 5. Right, no 5s again. One of these is a 5. Not a 5 is a 5, and then it gives me an 8. Wow. Beautiful stuff. Beautiful. You can kind of see something's going on now in here. Admittedly, could have probably seen it much earlier. So these cells are either a 1-4 pair or a 2-3 pair, of course, to add up to 5. Now notice is that this Renban can't be made up of entirely low digits. As in, I cannot have it as a run of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because these 3 cells, well, they wouldn't be in any of these, and I can't cram them into 2 cells here. So I have to have a 6 on this Renban. And I'm going to say the same is true on this side. This is also not a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Renban, because I cannot place the 1, 2, and 4 all in here. So I am going to show you on the number line again, and I am going to clean up. The fact that I cannot do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 forces it, even if it starts from a 2, to include the 6, and any other combo will include the 6. So this is a huge clue to move us forward. No 6 has to have a 6. No 6 is a 6. Because of this 7 cage. Phenomenal. 6s, 6s, 6s. Look at me doing Sudoku. Feel very proud. Now, same logic again. 1, 2, and 4. Well, yeah. Hold that thought. I can't place even 2 of these cells in here. So there has to be a 7. Because if it's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, well, where is 2 and 4 going to be? So there has to be a 7. There is no 7. But I think there has to be a 7 on this Renban. Because, again, the 2 and 4 can't be here. And I can't have both of them in there. So I can't have a 2 on here. And if that's the case, it's starting from at least 3, as is this one. I can actually remove the 1 and 2 then, and the 3 and 4 here. And as a result, I have to have a 7, and it's not in there. It is there. Brilliant stuff. I'm half tempted to actually just pencil mark the rest. I'm enjoying the bouncing back and forth, but I'm not entirely sure this is necessary. In that, if I just... Well, one of them has to have a 3. And the one that has a 3 has to have a 4 on it to reach the rest. But there's no 4 in here because of the 1, 2, 4, and I've used the rest of that Renban with a 5 and 7. So I can't have the 3 joining the 6th. I will break it. This is a 3-7 pair. This is a 4 and a 1. This is not a 1. And then I know what this is. This is 6, 8, 9. Of course, that's not a 6. I don't need the corner pencil marks anymore. And we're done with row 9. Done is a bit of a stretch, but you get my drift. Of course, the fact that this is a 6 means I can't reach it with a 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's not a 1. 2, 4 pair, that is a 1. There's a 7. I don't know if I'm going to keep corner pencil marking these. There is a 1 now on here. So this is made up of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I am going to pencil mark these. This is 2, 3, 4, 5. There's no 4 or 5 in here. This is 2 or 3. In fact, there's no 3 because of the 3, 7. That's a 2. That's a 4. This is a 3, 5 pair. And this is my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Renban. These remaining cells to complete box 9 are 1, 8, and 9. There's a lot of logic to squeeze out of the information we've been given. Now let's think about the remainder of these cells. So one thing that I do know is this cell is not 1 or 6. Can't be a 1 on this Renban anymore, and I can't repeat the 6. So the 1 and 6 are off it, which means the remaining cells that are available are 2 and 4. Come again? Well, what? No, the 6 is off. Oh, sorry. Sudoku says 2 and 4 are here. Tells me that this is 1 and something. The something is a 3, and I can't have the 1 to my reasons earlier. So that's a 3, that's a 1, that's not a 1. Of course, the 4 in here gave me a 2 if I paid attention. So 2, 3, and 6, I need a 4, 5 in here. That is not a 4. That's a 5, that's a 4, and that's of course brilliant because it would help me resolve all the remaining 5s. 3, 5, 5, 5, and we can delete all of these corner pencil marks. Phenomenal stuff. This is an 8 or 9 to complete row 8. This is 6, 7, and then an 8 and 9. We can take a look at row 6 now, because these cells add up to 11. And I can't use 6, 5 anymore. And 1 was never going to work with a 10. 4, well, the 7 can't go in any of these 11 cages. That's a 7. Then I'm left with a 2, 9 and a 3, 8. 2, 1, 2, 4, 2. No 2s. No 2. 2, 9, 7, 9. 3, 8. Lovely. 4 gave me 3 and 2 a while ago, if I paid attention. No 8. No, I don't think there's anything else I'm missing. 4, 6, 8. Yeah. Obviously not an 8. Obviously not a 4. And then another 4, 6 to complete row 4. What is going on in here? We need 1. 7 and 9? Not a 1, not a 7. Of course, I need 3 and 4 to join up the 5, and then I have a 1 or 6. So no 3 is a 3, and therefore definite 4 with 1 or 6, but it's not 6, it is 1. So that's a 1, 4 pair, that's a 9, that's an 8. That's not resolved. This is 7 and 1. And then these cells are 6, 7, 8, 9. No 7s, no 8s. I'm not going to reach a 9 from a 3. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I can reach 6 and 7, so not a 9. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I can make that a 4. I definitely need a 7. No 7s is a 7. And my options are essentially 4, 6, and 9. Because I can go 6, 7, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, except it's not 9. So it is starting from 4, and this is a 4, 6 pair. So what's going on with this Renban now? We kind of got most of them at this point. We definitely need a 4 in here now to join the, and we don't have a 2, so the lowest number is 3. So this is 3, 4, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So there's another 4, 6, 7, not a 7. 4, 6 pair, which does give me a 7. No 7 in here. No 4 or 6 in here. That's an 8. That's a 6. That's a 4. That's a 6. That Renban gives me the 4. This is not a 6. Not a 6 is a 6. And then I'm left with 7, 8, and 9. So this is 7, 9. This is not 7, so just 7 here. 8, 9. No 9s is a 9. Lovely. 1 and 8, 3 and 7 not resolved. That's fine. 6 and 9. Nope. This cell is just known. It is, I'm going to say a 9, and therefore not a 9. This cell is just known. That's a 1. And then I have 2, 3, and 8. Not 3, not 2. Still need to figure out what this Renban is, so we may as well do that. Without the 4 being available in the box, this is an extreme one going 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9s are not here. That's a 9. 8 is not there. In fact, no 7s. That's the 7. This is 6, 8. That is 8. That is 6. And that is probably going to give us the puzzle. The 7 also gave me the 3, 7 at the end. That gave me a 2. How's that looking so strange? 4, 6, yeah, because that haven't resolved. 4, 6, 1, 4. No 6s, which gives me 9, 6, and 8, and 3, and 8. 9 and 6. Nearly home here now with a 1, a 2, and if I've not made any, oh, hang on. entirely missed the box there. The 2 is here, the 3 is there, and if I've not made any mistakes, a 4 for the finish. Phenomenal puzzle from these two. Like, I'm fairly happy with the solve. I'm kind of just wondering, is that the way to solve it? It just feels like there may have been a more elegant way somehow to spot how these 5s resolve. But I guess the cages were there to break the symmetry, so I can't think there is another way. Just feels like it's on a cusp of a different solve, or a different solution path, I should say. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the puzzle and the video, and I'll see you back soon. Bye-bye for now.